my dear friends. The passage from St. Matthew's Gospel that we've just heard speaks of a turning point in Jesus' life. From that time on, Jesus began to preach, setting his public ministry in motion. In this way, Isaiah's prophecy, proclaimed in our first reading and then quoted in the Gospel, is fulfilled. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light, which dispels gloom and sadness and brings about abundant joy and great rejoicing. As Jesus begins his public ministry, he also invites followers to come after him, to turn from mundane tasks to announcing the good news of salvation. Matthew does not mention any previous encounter with these first disciples, but this does not rule out the possibility of their having already heard Jesus preach. What Matthew emphasizes is the compelling attraction of Jesus' invitation, and he then zooms in on Jesus' encounter with two sets of brothers. Jesus observes Peter and Andrew at work and abruptly calls them to follow him, promising that he will make them fishers of men. Andrew plays a less important role in Matthew's Gospel than he does in St. John's Gospel, where he is one of the very first to follow Jesus, and it is Andrew who brings his brother Peter to meet Jesus. To follow a rabbi meant to be his disciple. The description of Peter and Andrew leaving their nets implies their willingness to give up their livelihood and the security that it provided. The expression "fishers of men" adds another dimension. Not only will they listen to the teaching of this new rabbi, Jesus, but they will engage with him in the ministry of proclaiming the good news as healers, builders of virtue, and teachers of mercy and forgiveness. The call of James and John, also fishermen, closely mirrors that of Peter and Andrew. Especially noteworthy is that there is no hesitation in either case. They leave everything immediately, a testimony to the powerful attraction of Jesus' person. Indeed, Jesus is the light and salvation of the world who conquers the darkness of sin and death. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is neither an earthly realm nor some far distant place. It is present in our lives when we turn from darkness and not only walk in the light that is Christ, but become that light ourselves. At baptism, this essential dimension of our Christian vocation is signified when the newly baptized is presented with a candle lit from the Paschal candle, the symbol of Christ. As we now transition from the table of the Word to the table of the Eucharist, let us pray that we may live the grace of our baptism by becoming, like Jesus' first followers, the light of Christ in our world by being agents of healing, mercy, and forgiveness. May God be blessed.